History has a record about a story of a group of people, a nation actually, that were in captivity for many years. They were there suffering and didn't have their freedom or liberty. They were punished for everything that happened, were not paid for the services that they rendered, and they were considered to be second class or no citizen at all. They cried, they wailed, they complained, and they wished they could come out of such bondage. As providence may have it, life began to take a turn for the better until their masters released them and asked them to go to where has been promised for them to inhabit and occupy. Oh, the day they were released, they were excited. They were on top of themselves. They couldn't believe that after many years of suffering and being in captivity, that they can actually gain freedom. It was a party that they threw for themselves. But one thing that was interesting was recorded in history. They left the place of captivity and we are traveling to the place of promise. But it took them many years and a long time before they got to the place of promise. And in between that time, they got into a lot of confusion. They began to complain again. They went against their leader. They murmured. They threatened to kill their leaders and said, "Why did you bring us out here? Why didn't you allow us to remain in our place of captivity and die in there?" Now that sounds like a story. It's a true life story, but it is also the life and the story and the experience of a lot of persons. Today, many people find themselves in this particular situation. Not because they planned it to be like that, but because that's what it is. Now, that situation doesn't come before you make a decision. It comes after you've made a decision, after all the excitement and euphoria is gone. That time between the place of captivity, the place of evil, and the place of you becoming a better person is called the messy middle. Can we talk about the messy middle today? Now, a lot of people believe that once you make a decision, everything will change immediately. So for instance, a lot of people believe that if I'm able to develop this new habit, I will begin to feel disciplined instantly. They believe that if I'm able to just change my environment, I will feel peace immediately. And they believe that if I'm able to just make this decision to start growing, then everything will turn around right away. But let me ask you, how often has it actually happened? Because the truth is that decisions create direction for you, but it doesn't produce an instant result. So, if you change and that change doesn't give you instant results, what happens after the decision is made? That place is what we call the messy middle. So, what do I experience to know, oh, okay, this is the messy middle? What are those things that I see in the messy middle for me to know? Now, this is somewhere no one celebrates. The place where it's as if you are in between the place you are running away from and not in the place that you want to get to. So what are the things you feel? You feel four major things. The first one is discomfort. Yeah. The reason is because for you to move from where you are to the place of promise, there is that point of discomfort. It is an unnatural place. For example, you say, I want to start waking up early every day. Now, it will feel hard at the beginning. You say, I want to start being disciplined. It will be as if you're forcing yourself, as if it is mechanical. right? You say, I want to make a change in my diet, for instance. It will be as if that's when your appetite is looking for that particular thing that you want to start avoiding. You are no longer comfortable and you are not also confident. So let's say you want to stop some diet. You stopped it for like 1 month. You look at the mirror. You're seeing that there is no visible change around you and you are uncomfortable about it. The second thing you feel at this messy middle is doubt. Oh yeah, you will start questioning yourself. You begin to say, maybe I am better off going back to where I'm coming from. Maybe this isn't working. Or you begin to say, am I really sure that this thing would get me to this point I want to go to? Not because the decision you've made is wrong, but because the results are not visible yet. That's just the simple thing. Now, the third thing you will feel at this messy middle point is what we call loneliness, right? Now, when you change, your environment may not change. The things around you may not change. You will notice that, for instance, you've outgrown some certain conversations and some certain habits, right? And then even some certain people. And you are caught in a place where you are no longer fitting into the old conversation. And you've not even found the new people for your new environment and the place you want to go to. You are in a no man's land, right? That space actually is very lonely. Very, very lonely. Now, the fourth thing you will feel in this messy place is slow progress. Yeah. You are improving quite all right. But that improvement is not dramatic. It is just small win here, quiet growth on the other side, nothing flashy. And because of that, a lot of people will be discouraged and they will want to quit. Because they misinterpret this phase and say nothing is happening. They begin to question themselves. But the question I want you to ask this evening, now that you know that it is a natural place for a lot of people to find themselves, a messy middle, the question you should ask yourself is, how do I cope with this messy middle? The point after I've made a decision and I was excited about the decision, but now it's looking as if nothing is happening. I am no longer who I used to be and I am not who I want to be. How do I survive that particular middle? Now, this is where maturity is required. The reason is because you'll be making a choice to choose consistency over emotions. Yeah, because at that point, you are very unsure. You are very doubtful. Now, you won't feel like it. Now, some days you will feel motivated and other days you will be questioning yourself and asking, what am I doing? But the truth is that growth doesn't respond to feelings. It responds to consistency. Doing what matters, even when you don't feel like it. That is what is required at that point. If it is that you are jogging because you want to lose weight or keep fit, keep doing it. That consistency is more important than whatever it is that you're feeling. Can I tell you something? Most times, your feeling is going in an opposite direction to the purpose of your life. Most times. And that is why your feeling shouldn't be what you trust. What you should be looking at is the goal you want to achieve, the vision you have set for yourself, the target that is in front of you. That is where your mind should be. And because of that, it requires a lot of consistency for it to come out the way you want it. Right? The second thing that you require to do is that you need commitment over convenience. Can I tell you something? The messy middle is a very inconveniencing point. You will have that big, huge temptation to give up, to quit and say, I don't want to continue. You will question yourself so many times. You will feel left alone, like we've said before. But that is when you need to remain committed, because growth rarely is convenient. Most times, when growth is about to happen, it is inconveniencing. right? It will interrupt your comfort. It will challenge your habit. It will demand discipline from you. But commitment says, I will stay with this even when it's not easy. You know why? Because what you're building requires time. Please always remember that what you're building requires time. At this point, let me give you a vivid example. If you put a seed inside the ground, the seed will be there in the dark. Now, the next thing it will do is it will die. When it dies, it will begin to grow roots first. It will grow tiny roots to gain stability inside the ground. Then it will begin to fight against different forces. The first force it will fight against is the force of gravity. The next force it will begin to fight against is the weight of the soil that is on it. But it will keep fighting and keep meandering and keep fighting. While it is doing that, can I tell you what's happening to it? It is strengthening its stem and it is digging deeper and putting the roots deep down in the ground. The same thing is what happens to you when you make that decision, and when the decision will begin to manifest. That messy middle is always a time for strengthening and for growth. So let's bring it home. Every meaningful change must go through these three phases. You must have the point when you made the decision. You must have this messy middle, and then you will now see the results. Most people celebrate the decision. Oh yes, I have decided I am going to lose weight, for instance. I have decided I'm going to be more prudent and more frugal with my money. But that is the exciting times. Then after that, you will now get to that time when you begin to question yourself, when you are asking yourself a lot of questions. You don't like that point. The point you're looking at is when you will actually begin to see the results. But that struggle within the middle is very, very important. Why? Because it helps you to form your identity. It helps you to build discipline, and it helps you to undergo real transformation. So, if you leave too early from the messy middle, you will interrupt your growth. The same thing happens with a butterfly. From an egg to a larva to a pupa, and then the adult butterfly comes out. If you interrupt it at any point, it is said that when it is trying to break away from being a pupa into the full adult, it will be flapping the wings and struggling with that web that is covering it. If a human being goes to interrupt it and want to help it tear it, immediately it comes out, it will die. Why? Because it hasn't developed the wings enough to be able to survive the flight that it needs to undertake. That's why it needs to go through that messy middle. It is very, very important, even for your growth. So please don't interrupt that growth, right? So when you are in a particular place, ask yourself, this place, yes, feels uncomfortable. It feels unclear. It feels very slow, but I don't want you to panic. Don't retreat and don't abandon the process. Instead, ask yourself, am I quitting because it feels wrong or because it feels uncomfortable? Then make a decision and tell yourself, I am going to stay through. I am going to stay put until I see the results I'm looking for. Stay with that habit. Stay with that process. Stay with that growth. Even if it is quiet, even when it is very, very slow. Let me leave you with this, and please let it sit inside you. The real test is not in making the choice. The real test is in staying with it long enough until you begin to see the changes that it is meant to bring. So don't just start. Don't just start strong. Stay long in that thing that you have started, because what you're building will take time. And in that time, for the passage of time, you will see that it will continue to grow and develop. And when you come out at the end of it, you'll be excited and you will be glad you stayed put. This has been Ace with Okwi, the Wealth Maestro. Follow me on all social media platforms. Leave me a comment. Tell me your own experience. Ask a question. Let's chit chat and continue to build our lives, because we want to just achieve clear excellence. God bless you.